Welcome to Win with Richardson and Richardson. What's important now? Success in business most often comes down to hard work, not by silver bullets and quick fixes. It's knowing where to focus that hard work that's key to winning. Join sales prospecting expert and 3-time seven-figure business founder Carrie Richardson and managing partner of R&R Consulting and former owner of Doberman Technologies, Ian Richardson, for radical honesty regarding strategic planning, accountability, and execution that will get you the systematic results you're working toward. Let's get into today's episode. Thought leader and your host, Carrie Richardson.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Carrie Richardson, and I am the host of Win. With me today is Daryl D'Souza, who's the managing partner at Technique, a managed IT services provider based in Toronto, Canada. How are you doing today, Daryl?
Good, Carrie. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I think that people are going to be very excited to listen to your story today. So what piqued my interest most about talking to Daryl today was he mentioned that he was able to sign 2 or 3 new clients every month for his managed IT services provider, working only 2 or 3 hours a day. And he is willing to share that process and technique with us today. Daryl, the floor is yours. Tell us how you're doing this.
As I mentioned earlier, our industry, there's no shortage of tools. There's no shortage of vendors preaching what to do, what tech stack to sell, what's coming, the FOMO of cybersecurity and whatnot. And I think a lot of MSPs are stuck into that mentality. When I truly dissected everything a couple of years ago and realized the important value for an organization today is mostly how they can grow their business by leveraging technology, not necessarily tied to a tool stack or a tech stack. I think that's the underlying or main important factor to note, right? Once you embrace that mindset and remove the hustle mindset a bit, knowing that every call is not a financial transaction. When you hop on a call, it's not about, hey, what can I sell Carrie today? What contract term can I sell Carrie? 2, 5, 3-year term? What's the average seat count? There's a lot of gurus out there that say, hey, you got to be at $500, $600, $700 a seat. Sure, that works to a certain extent, I believe. But when you truly come down to actually providing value for free for the customers, right? And I'll go into how I do that in a couple of minutes here. I think that's the underlying factor where you truly build trust and credibility. Once you have that, at the end of the day, there's a saying that people buy from human beings, however you want to look at it, that really comes into play. So coming down to what our process looks like today, first of all, we don't have a sales team. You are talking to the sales team, me, myself, and I, right? I have been blessed with a great, fantastic team. We're about 10 people that always have my back on the service delivery side alongside my partner, Chi, who takes care of the service delivery aspect of running an MSP, which can be pretty hectic at times. This allows me to focus on truly delivering this value. So every day I leverage tools, LinkedIn automation tools. I leverage Copilot AI that basically reaches out to my ideal client profile that I have set forward in Sales Navigator, LinkedIn Sales Navigator in the Greater Toronto area. And that basically doesn't sell. The messaging is really not to sell someone something. The messaging is not to say, hey, I'm Daryl from Technique. We are in IT. We've been doing this for 10 years. We got the best people and whatnot, especially in this unregulated industry. I don't think that goes a long way anymore. The idea is really to find the low-hanging fruit. So if you have a prospect that has a simple example would be for the past couple of months, we've been targeting prospects that don't have a DMARC record set up. Now, most prospects don't even know what a DMARC record is or what it does, what the impacts are. So I actually take the time to carve out 10, 15 minutes per prospect, create a Loom video, send a link to the Loom video and say, hey, Carrie, nice to meet you. Notice that your domain crucial.com doesn't have a DMARC record. This is why you should have a DMARC record. And if you want to do it, this video walks you right through it, right? So I take the time to research who your domain registrar.
They're obviously curious enough to engage with you. How deep does the messaging go?
So this is over a couple messages. So it's not a long message on LinkedIn, first of all. I explain what a DMARC does and from a non-technical standpoint, how they could spoof your email address, for example, right? Why that's important. 99% of cyber attacks today are initiated through business email compromise. Not my stat, found it somewhere, don't remember from where. But once they understand what that is, and I show them, because I take the time to go and see who your domain registrar is, and I cater that Loom video to that specific domain registrar to log in, go in, click this, do this. 9 out of the 10 times, the prospect will come back and say, hey, listen, I don't know what I'm doing, especially the non-techie ones. Can we hop on a call? And I say, sure, let's hop on a call. And I actually jump on the call, we screen share, and we do it. My goal at that time is not to say, hey, listen, I got on a call with you for half hour, 45 minutes. This is what we charge per hour. This is what we do. Sell our managed services, sell this, sell that. None of that. I don't even talk about anything of that shape or form unless they ask me. So what does your company do? What can you do for us? That's when I start asking questions about, hey, where are you guys today from a business perspective? Where do you see yourself? Where do you see your business grow in the next 3, 5, 7 years? And how do you think you can leverage technology to accelerate that growth for you? Only then will I come back with a technology action plan that's not typical from what any MSP would provide, because everything we talk about is non-technical. It's directly tied to business outcomes. And based on that, they feel more comfortable. And then we discuss what the investment looks like.
I like that you call it an investment.
Thank you. Thank you. Because it is an investment, right? At the end of the day, if you want to get somewhere, it is definitely an investment of time or monetary value. But at the end of the day, it definitely is an investment.
When Ian is teaching people how to conduct a closing meeting, he always says, you ask if they can fund that investment versus can you afford this?
Yes, that's huge. That goes a long way.
So how did you learn about Copilot to begin with? How did it come across your radar?
I'm always looking for tools that improves our business operational efficiency, whether it's on the sales side or the service delivery side. And this was just me Googling around and searching for tools. There's a bunch of tools out there from Cleverly to Zopto and a whole bunch of tools, but Copilot worked, and that's the path we chose.
And was it a big learning curve, or did you just sit down and play with it for a few hours? How did you get to the point where you were able to create a process that allowed you to eliminate so much noise from your day?
So it took time. Was it easy to use a tool? If you're a tech savvy person, you could figure it out. It's basic if and then statements, I think. You drag and drop, builder, craft out messaging. Of course, now it's a lot easier leveraging AI to craft out messages or whatnot. You just got to be super, super careful. I think by not using the default messages, you really want to cater the messages to what your company beliefs are or values are, right? For us, it's not about selling anything on any call. So we really crafted it took us probably a couple of months, maybe a couple of quarters initially to fine tweak that messaging. And secondly, we focus on one specific niche, right? So once you focus on a specific niche where they hang out, where that community, what their pitfalls, what their challenges are, and what they need assistance with. So it really gives you that ammo to go in and include those pitfalls or challenges in your messaging as triggers to get someone's attention.
It's important for people listening today to understand that you can't just buy a tool and cut 7 hours out of your workday. You're going to have to learn how to use it. You're going to have to learn some other hacks. You're not using Copilot alone. You're also using Loom to record videos. So there's a couple of different things you'll have to learn how to use. It'll take you a few quarters to get the hang of things based on, it took Daryl a couple of quarters. It might take you a couple of quarters or a couple more quarters, depending on your level of comfort working with. I think the technology isn't the difficult part. I think the difficult part is what we're doing right now, which is like, how do I become comfortable talking to nobody? Creating a Loom video that someone may watch, may not watch. You don't know anything about them. You don't really understand their sense of humor. And you've got to be almost palatable to every person you interact with in your target client profile.
Not only that, I think the most important and most challenging part, and this was a challenge for me initially when I first started, is how to give value for absolutely free and not expecting anything in return.
your peers think that you should be selling the identical stack to everybody that you interact with and charging as much as humanly possible and doing nothing for free.
100%. I'll tell you, there's been prospects that I've been helping for over a year. Micro calls, 15 minutes here, 30 minutes there, free advice. Yeah, no problem. Until I got them onto our managed program. That's going to be the very challenging and difficult part for you to actually sit back and do. And for me, like I said earlier, Carrie, super grateful that I've been able to do this because I have a team that takes care of all the customer support issues, the technical issues, and my partner Chi overseeing that. So for me, it's really, I got all the time in the day.
You told me that you have a new baby at home.
I do. But what I'm trying to get at is when I get on a call or prospect, the goal is just to have a conversation, right? If I can help that person, that individual, that organization, great. And if there's any monetary or financial value attached to it, fantastic. And if there isn't, that's okay as well. I just made a new friend, a new connection, right? So that's the way I look at it. And it's very difficult when you look at it at that angle. It's not easy to adapt that.
It's also really hard to have a bad day when your only goal is trying to interact with interesting people who are doing cool stuff. That's what I've always liked about prospecting. I
Yeah.
really enjoy having conversations like this. Oh, how are you doing that? What does that mean? And how did you find it? And what are you going to do next? How do you add on to the success that you're having right now? We talked a little bit about what your next steps will be. So you're going to go from owner-led sales to a team of people that you're now going to have to educate on this great process that you built internally. Sounds like you documented it really well, so you'll be able to train it very well. What does that look like a year from now for Technique?
So from both she and I, we're working on our macro plan is within 3 years get to a point where we're both completely not engaged in the business at all. Whether it's from a sales side or service delivery side or customer relationship side, that's going to take some time. Today, we're both able to do that to a certain extent because of the fantastic team and the culture that we're built. We're trying to extend that to the sales side as well. So for the past year, we've been working hard on increasing our operational efficiency, trying to build that great culture, and we haven't done a lot of active client acquisition.
Anytime that we had to take a step back and fix something, it made me crazy because the phone starts to ring and I have to say no, and I never want to say no. So what was the year where you had to like really drill down into service delivery like for you as the sales partner in the business?
It was the past year. So we're coming up to a year, 11 months now. So it was from last October when we merged and launched Technique. We said, no, we're not accepting any new clients. We did a couple of clients here and there that fit our values, that fit our methodology. So yes, but not actively getting new clients for the past 11, 12 months. We're going to start up in October and we're planning on getting two SDRs that follow the same sequence that I've documented, leveraging Copilot LinkedIn automation, probably add a follow-up, the call sequence follow-up, and truly digging in on that. But we're looking at building a team offshore. We have a few members that work out of the Philippines for us today on the service delivery side of things. So we're looking at extending that angle as well and see how we can build this out.
So how will you integrate the sales success that you've been able to achieve? If you're able to replicate that with two more people, that's going to have a serious impact on your service delivery side. What does the process look like for the handoff from deal to onboard?
We have dedicated service coordinators today that walk through that transition from a client acquisition to onboarding. Our typical onboarding is a 30-day experience, which we're very straightforward in the beginning of our process. The customers are well aware of what that looks like and what that commitment looks like because it's a commitment on both sides. In fact, one of our newly onboarded customers today that we're working on, their onboarding experience was extended by a month and a half to 2 months, but they were well aware of that because of the time required on the client side as well as our side to make sure that we can get all our I's dotted and T's crossed. Besides that service coordinator that we have, we're looking at ramping the service delivery side of the house as well. We automate a lot on the service delivery side of things. There's no shortage of tools in our industry, so you got to pick your poison, figure out what works, try to build automation to it, and stick to your guns, right? You can't be switching tools every now and then. What's a new RMM? What's a new PSA? Whatever it is that you're stuck in the MSP world, there's always tools coming out. That's not to say we don't review new tools. We do once a year, but we have our automations in place, and we're actively also looking for that right fit, as we call them, tech ops engineers, or they do pretty much our help desk, our projects. They're aligned to a client and invest in their continuing education as well from a technical front. So it has to all go hand in hand, and that's what we've been working on for the past 11 months from a ratio. I know our industry loves metrics. I don't know where I saw this metric again, but it was 250 endpoints to a technician. Right now, we're about, with the automation and everything in place, we're about 200 endpoints an engineer, but we modify that a bit. So we don't just allocate one engineer to a client. Everyone knows all our clients. So everyone on our team, we take turns. Every Friday, we call it Kahoot days. So you guys know what Kahoot is. It's the platform that you can create interactive games or quizzes with your team. So we have Kahoot days, and there are times where once we onboard a customer, we make a Kahoot game out of it so that our team members really understand and know the business for each of our clients. If someone's on break or is busy doing a project, someone else can step in and adapt to it as well.
So you're not getting I want Larry. Where's Larry? Why isn't Larry at work today? Larry's my guy. I got to talk to Larry. Larry's the only one who gets us here.
None of that. Every client they know how to engage support. You want to call in, that's great. You want to open up a ticket through the system tray icon, that's great. You want to email, that's great. Whatever tickles your fantasy, that's great. But you're not tied to a specific engineer per se, right? Every one of our clients understand that, hey, everyone on our team is capable of delivering that service. And if they're not, then they'll find someone who is capable, learn the process as well. So next time around, it's smooth sailing as well.
Now, one of the things that you mentioned when we were talking was that you don't force a specific standardized stack onto your clients. You allow them to select how they're going to be supported or what tools they're going to use in their business. Is it more challenging to train a technical team to have to support multiple processes, systems?
Sure is. It definitely is. But if you really look at the gist of it, most clients that we support, especially in the 5 to 50 space, right? We're talking about, hey, messaging and collaboration. Are you a Microsoft fan or are you a Google Workspace fan? So all our engineers go through that training process of learning the baseline fundamentals. And of course, for the niche that we're in, there are certain third-party line of business applications that we're familiar with as well. That's irrelevant in terms of what it is, because we work closely with the vendors. There are certain times where there will be a different angle of attacking a particular problem, but they're well versed with it and continuously adapt to it.
It's exciting. Where do you anticipate you'll be in 1 year and 5 years based on your current trajectory and your plans for business growth?
Right now, we're looking at expanding into the Middle East. That's on our short-term trajectory over the next 12 to 16 months. That's going to be super exciting to see how we adapt there. It's a completely different ball game than North America. It's not transactional. Cold calling is frowned upon. It's all about meeting in person, building relationships, networking. So I'm super excited for that. And the 5-year plan is really to get a really streamlined or lifestyle business where he and I are completely off hands, and we could do something else and just peek in as needed.
Living the dream.
Yeah, yeah.
One thing I did want to ask you was, how do you prefer that vendors interact with you? You've mastered a really interesting way of approaching prospects. What is your preferred way to be reached? If a vendor wants to do business with you, what do you want them doing?
So I don't mind cold calls, but if it's a cold call that is, number one, all about selling right out of the gate, I'm not going to be a happy camper like most people would be. I always prefer LinkedIn conversations, connecting to there, trying to understand what the vision, the story behind that firm's all about, seeing if it's a good fit, and then setting up a discovery call and then going from there, right? Always love networking events, like especially in-person events. I think are coming to an all-time high now since COVID. Love meeting people in person always, or hopping on a call, like a virtual Zoom, Teams, whatever your flavor of the stack is. Love doing that as well.
Excellent. And any advice for other MSPs on how they might replicate some of your success?
So it all comes down to, first, I think, understanding and see what you value as an individual and what your organization values, right? Once you have that in place and you build a solid baseline of, okay, we talked about a wholly successful life earlier, Carrie, right? For me today, both she and I, we are aligned with that, and so is our team. So whether it's looking at your health first, your religious beliefs, having enough time to spend time with your family, sure, go ahead and do that. Not a problem at all. So once you realize what that looks like, then you define and carve out a business plan in terms of who your ideal client should be, right? And how you want to support them. What are your in scope versus out scope? What will you do? What will you not do? And most importantly, define that line of what you're not willing to compromise no matter what. I know we briefly spoke about this earlier, was how we turned down a 2 million plus deal just because that client wasn't a good fit for us. Sure, did it hurt? Yeah, it's $2 million, right? It didn't fit, which means that it's going to change the team's morale. It's going to change our company culture. It's going to change everything, and it's not going to be fun. So I'd rather take the hit now and find like-minded businesses that fit our values and our culture first, and then go that way. So I think that's super important to look at before worrying about, hey, what your 3 plans are, or what you're going to sell, or whatnot.
And how do you vet potential employees to make sure that they're aligned with that wholly successful life value?
So we have changed the way we recruit today. I'd rather hire someone with no technical experience at all and ramp up, but they have the right attitude, than someone who's a senior engineer and is going to change the culture of our company overnight. So we made disc assessments very important in our recruitment process. We use Test Gorilla extensively. Before we even have a call, we send 2 assessments via Test Gorilla, which is a culture fit assessment and a technical assessment. Based on that, then we'll go ahead and schedule that introductory call with Chi and myself to understand what they're trying to do, with what their career goals are, how it maps into the roles that we're looking to hire. From there, we invite them for an in-person half a day paid engagement at our firm. It could be virtual or in person. Really depends on where they are in the Greater Toronto area. And we basically pair them up with an engineer to do technical work, not hands-on work, but just borrow their brains or steal their brains for that 4 hours, right? After all that, and we're all happy with it, the most critical part of it is we obviously meet up and have lunch with them, understand what their personal lives are about, learn about their family values, and so on and so forth. Get them to do a disc assessment, and then finally get them on board. If you're looking for a tech ops engineer or a help desk engineer, you're looking at someone with high SCs, right? So you want to make sure they have that. But we heavily rely on this process. It's a lot longer, especially since we're a nimble firm. We don't have a dedicated HR or recruitment or training division. But I think that goes a long way if you're able to do this and find that right fit individual. Now, keep in mind, you're never going to find that right fit individual forever, because priorities change, right? Some individual, whether it's family, marriage, education, whatever it is, priorities change. So you got to be really understanding and have an open set of eyes and ears to seeing what your employees want in their life, and able to propel them towards that and support them, while at the same time making sure that they hit your eyes, you dot your I's and T's with that roles and responsibility for that specific function.
So are you finding people that will be good core value fits and then figuring out where to place them in the organization? Or do you have a job order that's open and you go looking for somebody that you're going to be able to train up to take that position?
Both. I think it depends on where we're at, right? So for our expansion in the Middle East, we're looking at both. We're looking at individuals that are willing to adapt and learn the business and upskill themselves. And at the same time, we're always looking at keeping an open roster of individuals or talented individuals that want to be in the technology space, that want to learn a specific or go into a specific line of business within technology, and see how we can empower them get there.
That's great. I really appreciate you joining us today on Win. There's some great takeaways there, and I hope people can take them and apply them to their own business and experience some of the work-life balance that you seem to be enjoying very much right now.
Thanks for having me on this podcast, Carrie. I appreciate it. Super grateful.
It was a real pleasure. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
You've been listening to Win with Richardson and Richardson. What's important now? We're so glad you've joined us and know you're one step closer to winning big in your business too. We'd love to connect with you outside of the show. If you have any questions or comments, please reach out to connect@rnr.consulting. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast so you'll easily know when new episodes are available. Until next time, you can win, and we're here to help.